Random thought I just had, but life is like a game, right? And it would basically be the hardest game ever played because in this game, the stakes are so high, you have only one life. If you screw it up at all, you make one mistake, everything that you've built throughout the game can be destroyed. Get a DUI, game over. Go to jail, game over. Start from the beginning. And really, in this game, there is no real starting over. Even if you fail once, it could be a critical failure throughout the rest of your life. So this is the hardest game ever played. And the thing is, the way to pass this game is like a lot of other games. You could go off on a side quest where you're drinking at a cantina and talking to some NPCs and waste a bunch of time. You could go purchase things you don't need that are to make your character look cooler, but is it really going to help them out? No. What you should be doing is the main character mission. You should be going straight through all the way to the main bosses and knocking them out as fast as possible so that you can get the gear and equipment needed to fight the bigger and better bosses. And as you ascend through the game, you learn more about your character. Once you've completed enough story missions and learned enough about your character, you can deck your character out. And all that really means, in the grand scheme of things, is that you've figured out the game, you've understood the mechanics of the game, and you hijacked those mechanics in order to work in your character's favor. And now everybody else who's wandering around at the cantina, everybody else who's spending money on stupid clothing item upgrades and things like that, while you're literally making sure that your movement mechanics are better, you're making sure that your fitness is better, you're making sure that your money in the game is tight, so that you can get ahead. And by the time they figure out what you've been up to, they're like, holy shit, this guy's years ahead of me because he's been playing the main missions. And what the hell, is this a game? And you're like, yeah, you've been drinking at the cantina the whole time. You've been playing with NPCs. In fact, basically, that makes you an NPC because you're so stuck in it. And so that's the first level of the game, is actually waking up to the fact that you're in a game. And I think that's what is so interesting. And that means that God is our game master, or the one who is trying to wake us up. He's put little hints throughout the game saying, hey, dummy, guess what? You're in a game and it's time to wake up. And as soon as you wake up, I, as the game master, have a bonus package for you. I'm going to start blessing you with items in the game, things that no one can take from you. It'll go straight into your character that can never be taken. Now, when people around you in the game see you upgrading and that the game master has given you a bonus package, they're going to be pretty upset. Hey, how did you get all this bonus equipment? They're not going to ask who's the game master. They're not going to even realize they're in a game. They're just going to see you wearing the new clothes, having the new movement mechanic, having the new ability to do the thing, and they're going to be pissed. So now they're going to create a group of people to come and try to attack you. But little did you even know, within the game was already created a group of people watching for you, the person who's succeeding outside of the game mechanics. And they're going to go, no, play the game. But the game master has the entire time been hoping that you would figure out how to break the mechanics of the game and win, because that's really the only way to win the game. It's the hardest game ever played. So you have to realize that you have people that are literally trying to destroy you. And the bigger spiritual connotation of that is there really is a God and a devil, right? And the devil understands that he's in the game. He failed at the game really early on. He's pissed. And so now he's got hundreds of thousands of NPCs that don't know they're NPCs working for him because he has made them jealous. He has made them angry. And through their jealousy and anger, you're going to be the target of their jealousy and anger, right? And the devil, knowing how the game works, knows that he can manipulate the levers of the game to get the NPCs to attack the main character, which is you. And what else he can do, what other things he can do is he can, again, what the Bible says, come to kill, steal, and destroy. He can take your things and he can give them to this kingdom of NPCs, and those people then have your things, and they feel good. So then they're like, wow, I really like this out-of-game character who's talking about, giving me nice things, and wow, all I got to do is just steal from that guy. And then this is how evil increases, right? And so this is why we are living in an evil world. People aren't realizing they're in a game and that they could play the game themselves and actually win. Instead, they see. So while the people of God are increasing their knowledge of the game, increasing their ability to play the game, some people are increasing their pickpocket skill, which is watching you get all the stuff and items from the temple as you go through a stage of life and you win, and then they snatch them out of your pocket right when you walk out. Now, is that a wiser solution? In a way, that is not a bad way to handle things. Let's just be honest. But how far is it going to get you till you get caught by the guards, right? How far is it going to get you before it gets you landed in prison? How far is it going to get you before that main character realizes what you're doing and turns and attacks you? And now with their enhanced power, because they've learned the mechanics of the game, you're done for, right? So it's wise to a level. That's why people do it. But anyway, I just wanted to kind of make this statement, like, life is a game, and you can really win at it if you realize that it's being played against you. It's the hardest game ever played. There's only one life. You can really screw it up, and you better get at it, right? Because there's a lot of missions, and if you're not playing them, you're messing. And I've heard a lot of people say the statement, new levels, new devils, right? And that couldn't be more true. In games, you see the same thing, right? You want to go up and fight Bowser? Well, dude, you got to play through the whole Mario game and fight tons of bosses until you can get close to Bowser. And you got to increase in strength. And let's just, like, for instance, Elden Ring. Super hard game. You're going to get your butt whooped a million times. You can't do that in this game. You got to be so powerful that by the time you reach the level, that it is inevitable that you win. Because if you lose, it's your death. That's why this is the hardest game ever played. And that's why some people just don't play. That's why they give up. That's why they're homeless or poor or into drugs and alcohol, because it's just too damn hard. But guess what? That's on you. Because everybody starts with the same base character skills. In general, I'm saying there's a lot of impoverished places in the world, but if you're an American, you have the same base character skills. I mean, there's not much. Maybe athleticism and things like that. Maybe IQ. But come on, you can make anything happen in this day and age. You can do stuff on the internet, anything, if you really wanted to. With that being said, stop being deceived. Stop feeling sorry for yourself. It's not your ex-boyfriend's fault. It's not your ex-girlfriend's fault. It's not your ex-wife's fault. It's not your parents' fault. It's your fault. And that is because, regardless of how hard the start of the game is, you can still overcome, right? Like, I grew up kind of in poverty in the very beginning of our lives, and not necessarily with the greatest upbringing originally. It turned out better later on. But we had some really hard, tough challenges when I was just a baby. And there wasn't any like base character stats built up yet. I had nothing, and I still succeeded. And that's because of the grit. Then I realized it was a game really early on. I was like, all right, if I just recognize this as a game and start playing really hard towards trying to succeed, I'm going to succeed. And I don't even have to play by the rules. I can play my own way, because there's a bunch of different paths you can take in the game. They all, as long as they're leading towards the main mission, right? Just don't get stuck on the side path in the cantina with the NPCs. Anyway, with that being said, go out and prosper. Get what's yours, and just stay blessed, man. God's real. God is real, and he built the game in order to make you a stronger character. Unfortunately, in every game, there are NPCs and people who are going to die in that game. But what does that say about those people? Were they really valuable enough to achieve what comes at the end of the game? You would argue no. They quit halfway through. They didn't make it. They died in the game. So you're not a good enough player. You either have to start from the beginning, which is impossible, or you don't play anymore. And so you just have to get it right. And unfortunately, that's how it is. But that's the rules that we have to play by. Either accept it, suck it up, and make it happen, or don't accept it and act like it's not real and act like everything's just fine and keep going on about your life in the cantina and keep going in circles doing nothing. And you'll get nothing. And that's really as simple as it is. You really need to get up and do something.